All right, doctors of our personal injury, Doctors Elite community. Hey, welcome to our presentation. Great presentation coming to us today. Some of us doctors, majority of us doctors, don't even know where our practice stands financially, productively, and we just kind of go day by day and just hope goes for the best. But now we've talked to some of the doctors that are needing some organization, some production processes, ideas, and we are bringing in a great professional endorsement today, Jeanette Delgado. You see her there in her picture. Um, she is with us today. She's going to give a little presentation on what actually she can do for your practices to organize it, make it more productive, know exactly where you are financially on your financial growth, and a little bit about her over 30 plus years. She looks like she's in her 20s in that picture, but 30 plus years in the experience of doing a lot of this for medical practices. Her company is the JD Management Advisory, LLC, and she's been working with medical practices on financial data analysis and making great decisions on efficiency, proficiency, and growth to help you along. And some of you do not even have, you have office managers, but they don't have the precise expertise that Jeanette has. And we're going to go ahead and introduce her. And Jeanette, thank you for being with us, expertise, your experience, and we appreciate all the things you'll be giving our doctors that you can offer in your services. I am just going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tony, for your kind invitation to speak to your group today. As Dr. Tony said, my name is Jeanette Delgado. I am the founder of JD Management Advisory, where we provide holistic bookkeeping services to medical practices. So I've spent most of my career helping small business, much of which has been helping independent medical practices. So let's understand what a small business is. So according to the SBA, any non-manufacturing organization that generates $7.5 million in revenue annually is considered a small business. So that includes the majority of businesses today, including medical practices. The challenge of a small business is growing and being successful with limited resources. So you as a business owner has to be strategic in your approach to managing your business. So what JD Management does is it collaborates with you, your CPAs, your legal team, your insurance brokers, anybody that represents an advisory position in your organization. So we provide them with the accurate data so that they can provide you more informed guidance. So that's our role. We are here to support you, to support your team, and provide the financial data necessary to make strategic business decisions. So to that end, let's start our presentation. Thank you. So I was invited today to speak to you about my services at JD Management Advisory, which are bookkeeping, consulting, and bookkeeping services. But rather than doing that, I really would like to speak to you about you, because it's all about what we can do for you. So today's presentation is called Unlocking Practice Potential, the Power of Precise Bookkeeping for Personal Injury Physicians. So when I started my business, JD Management Advisory, I did it because I really wanted to help small businesses prosper. Working as a consultant for over 17 years, it really opened my eyes to understand that small businesses really struggled to survive and to compete and to actually thrive. So I decided that when I went to create my own business that I really should be very cognizant and understand what I really wanted to accomplish. So at JD Management, we empower private medical practices to enhance their financial health. We want to make you better. And to gauge that, I have committed to drive 80 million in revenue growth for our clients over the next 10 years. I will know that I have reached my goal if I can determine that that's what I've accomplished for the next 10 years. And we provide holistic bookkeeping services that increase revenue, reduce costs, and ensure physician owners achieve year-over-year growth and remain independent. That is my commitment to you, that as you engage with our services, that we provide you with the ability to create a good financial foundation for better business management and growth. So, as a personal injury practice, even though your challenges may be similar to other medical practices, you also have some additional challenges in your time, your energy, your data, and your efficiencies. So you're dealing with more than just a medical practice. You are essentially also dealing as part of a legal practice. So you have those challenges that come with both industries. This is where the power of precise bookkeeping comes into play. So we're going to talk a little bit about each of these challenges within your practices. And we are going to first talk about your time and energy. So the whole goal is to provide you with an effortless financial management process and documentation. So let's think a little bit about what this all means. As you manage both patient care and complex compliance requirements, have you ever considered the impact that specialized bookkeeping could have on your practice's efficiency? So for most people, bookkeeping is just data entry. Subtract numbers, add numbers, make sure the bills get paid. But very few people really realize the key role that bookkeeping plays on all of their financial decisions and meeting regulations and fiduciary compliance. So let's take a look at some questions that make you say, So when we're looking at compliance and efficiencies, how can we help? So unique to a personal injury practice is that you're overwhelmed by demanding compliance requirements and need for detailed documentation for legal and insurance purposes. By implementing our specialized bookkeeping services, we streamline the management of financial documentation to your case accounts and to your overall operations to ensure full compliance. There are specific ways to set up the accounting system to provide accurate reports. For example, by legal practice or by case. The reports can be compared to the supporting documentation and system reports to assist in management tasks. This efficient process not only cuts down on the time you spend managing finances, but also enhances your focus on patient care. It also minimizes the risk of compliance-related errors that could lead to legal issues or financial penalties. So this is really a key point for me because I have, in my history, really been exposed to the benefits of proper documentation. And when I first spoke with Dr. Tony, I kind of gave him this scenario that I was involved in. So I was brought in to work with a client because they had experienced a theft in their business. Now, it wasn't a medical practice, but it really speaks to the legal matters that you guys have to deal with. So I was brought in to identify the level of the theft and to work with the state to see if we could prosecute the person, the person that executed that theft. So in my work, I had to present the methodology that I use to identify the volume of the theft, and I also had to present the documentation supporting that to the state's attorney. I worked hand in hand with the state's attorney to put the information together to present to the courts and to prosecute this individual. In the end, the individual was prosecuted, mostly based on the documentation that I was able to gather, present, and provide to the state's attorney to work on the prosecution. In the end, it was almost $500,000 in theft. The person was found guilty. They served some jail time. But beyond that, I was able to also provide the documentation to the client's CPA, who also issued a 1099 for the size of the theft, close to $500,000, which was submitted with the client's tax return for that year, and which now has created a scenario where this individual, even though they spent very little jail time once they were found guilty, they still have hanging over their head the fact that the IRS could technically prosecute them for tax evasion, because technically that theft was income to that individual. And now that the IRS has the 1099 for that amount, the individual is responsible for paying taxes on that theft. All this came about because of the fact that I was able to provide the financial data and the documentation supporting that financial data in order for the state's attorney to prosecute this individual. So, similar to your situation where you're dealing with personal injury, the financial data that a good bookkeeping procedure can create the reporting and the documentation so that you can have the proper documentation and information regardless of what you need to use it for. So I'm very familiar with that process, and I obviously, it has worked for me, and it has worked with many of the clients that I work with. I've also been a witness at clients' divorce cases where I've had to provide documentation related to the misrepresentation of the expenses by a spouse who was doing the bookkeeping. Again, I had to provide the methodology and identify the supporting documentation. And in the end, in one particular case specifically that I remember, the judge ruled in favor of my client, which led to a better divorce settlement for my client. So again, all this was based on the financial data reporting that we were able to produce for the court cases. Key to everything is documentation. So let's go on to time and energy question. How much could you achieve if these financial tasks were handled expertly on your behalf? A personal injury medical practice spends a significant amount of time each week reconciling billing reports with patient treatments and legal documents. By having expert bookkeepers manage these financial tasks, the practice could significantly reduce the time physicians and staff spend on these areas. Instead, your staff could redirect this time towards treating more patients or enhancing their service offerings, like adding new treatment options or focusing on customer services. which could directly contribute to increased patient satisfaction and practice growth. Has the allocation of staff resources in your practice affected your ability to manage financial operations and patient documentation? In a typical personal injury clinic, staff might be split between administrative tasks and patient care, often leading to overwhelmed employees and potentially neglected financial management or documentation. With a specialized bookkeeping service handling the detailed financial operations, the practice can reallocate staff to focus more on patient interaction and care coordination. This reallocation can lead to a smoother patient experience and more efficient case handling, particularly important when dealing with the intricate details of personal injury cases, which require consistent and thorough documentation for legal and insurance purposes. So now let's look at data accuracy, because accurate books make stronger practices. How often do financial inaccuracies or delays affect your decision-making capabilities? And we're talking about not just patient care or cases, but just your overall management of your practice. It's not unusual to find inconsistencies, such as mismatching between billing reports and accounting record. This often leads to cash flow uncertainties, affecting the ability to make timely, informed decisions. By employing our specialized bookkeeping services, we create, implement, and manage reconciliation processes that ensure your billing and accounting systems are perfectly aligned. An additional benefit is it identifies how data in the billing systems are being reported. This may modify billing report queries to generate more accurate management reports. I have found that many of the billing systems report depending on how you do your query. So they pull the data from different areas, and some of the billing systems, when they give you reports on your practice, may run the query using maybe the service date, or they may use it based on their ledger date, which is how they report or calculate for their internal management. So it's really important to understand what the billing system is providing you so that we can align that with your accounting system. This alignment provides accurate and timely financial insights, enabling you to manage your practice's finances more efficiently. With reliable data at your fingertips, you can make strategic decisions swiftly, like optimizing staff allocation, planning for capital investments, or enhancing patient services, thus maintaining a strong and responsive practice. Could the assurance of precise and timely financial reporting from a professional bookkeeper transform your operational effectiveness? Consider the transformation in your practice when you find every financial report you receive is not just accurate, but also promptly delivered. This kind of meticulous bookkeeping changes how your office functions day to day and boosts your capability to manage resources with foresight. With precise financial data always at hand, you can get ahead of potential financial hiccups, enabling a proactive approach to practice management. Additionally, this information is vital for strategic decision-making, helping you enhance patient care and evaluate technology upgrades effectively. Ultimately, this leads to a more responsive practice that adapts swiftly to healthcare's ever-evolving demands and while ensuring top-tier patient services. And then for our third challenge that we will discuss today is your efficiencies in your workflows and how bookkeeping can help with this. Reflect on the last quarter. What percentage of your administrative time was devoted to managing financial operations? So, I want to talk to you today about a physician client. This is not his picture, and Francis is not his name, and we changed his name and his look just to protect his success as a medical practitioner and business owner. But I really think that he really reflects a good um, success story as it comes to a medical practice that I've worked with. So, Dr. Francis is a physician owner. He's been in practice at this point for over 30 years and had different scenarios and goals that he wanted to kind of review and understand better, and to see uh, where he could really improve his practice. Um, he's a multi-provider practice, and we're talking about not just physicians, but also clinical staff that provides services. Um, and he's also passionate about patient care. So he wanted to see if he could improve the patient experience. He had, when we first engaged with him, he was in the process of building a new facility and really trying to enhance the patient experience. But he also is very involved in mentoring young professional medical physicians and PAs and anybody that really wants to um, either go into school or is in the process of going into and being accepted by medical schools or other academic pursuits that they want to do within the healthcare field. And he is very open to bringing these people, young professionals, on board and mentoring them for a year or two, or as long as they want to be part of the practice. He also has multiple locations, and he has locations in 3 different states. So there's a lot of challenges when it came to really identifying what our bookkeeping tasks would be for him, since there were a lot of different goals to meet. So, as I spoke about, Francis had uncertainties about his profitability in certain areas of his practice. He was challenged in trying to bring on board really excellent physicians, because most of them were being offered better compensation packages with larger organizations. So because he's now going into the mature time of his professional life, he was also thinking about his exit strategy and maybe bringing on people who might want to buy his practice or become partners in his practice so he could start slowing down. And he also struggled to maintain that competitive edge that the new and improved healthcare systems were creating for him. So he was really not struggling, but he was on the verge of feeling a little bit stressed, to say the least, with the new facilities and trying to make all these changes, and also thinking about his future that was quickly approaching what we would call retirement thought processes in his mind. So what did we do? Because we identified that his financial reporting lacked specificity. In other words, it wasn't being reported to him in a way that made sense, where he could really hone in on his practice in the different areas. So he's a foot and ankle specialist and has not only insurance-based services, but ancillary services. There were a lot of intricacies that we needed to create procedures for, document, and to be able to give him precise reporting in a very specific and defined way. So by location, by he wanted to also track by doctor, so direct expenses by doctor. He wanted to be able to pull those reports fairly quickly. So we needed to also to make sure that as we were engaging with different vendors, that they could provide us the invoicing in a way that allowed us to efficiently track direct expenses by provider, and that included DMEs and medical supplies such as grafts and things of that nature. And also be able to review the vendors as a separate analysis, so that all of these requests from him, we are now able to produce reports that provide him that information. So when we stepped in, we were able to, in the end, provide him short-term and long-term benefits to the process that we implemented. So as you can see here, his financial reports became more transparent and informative, providing him a clear view of his practice's financial health. This enables him to swiftly adjust management strategies based on the insights from the financial data. The long-term benefit, empowered with precise data, he is better equipped to make more informed decisions about his profitability in the different practice areas, and allows him to focus on his passion for mentorship. So he's able to spend more time with these individuals, explaining to them and teaching them his skills. And also for his strategic decision making, the financial clarity that he has to effectively compete with larger healthcare systems and strategically shape his legacy is crucial and key. And now he feels like he's in a better place for that. His proficiency in negotiating compensation packages supported by concrete data is attracting a more robust pool of future physician leaders. He has now had added 2 more physicians, one who he's speaking to and negotiating a partnership with, and this physician is also perhaps going to have his wife join the practice. All of this is being negotiated at this point. And we have now been working with this practice for since 2018, and we are still going strong. We adapt. As he decides he wants to do, maybe make a different change or plan for a different piece of equipment, we are able to have those intelligent conversations that we were not, or he was not able to have before. And so the whole key is that when we engage with a client, it's not just to do the numbers, it's to really become part of the team of advisors for the different clients. So at JD Management Advisory, we do more than manage numbers. We help you tell your financial story with flair, ensuring you can navigate the complexities of the healthcare market with confidence and continue to thrive. Our services are tailored to meet the unique financial needs of your practice. Understand the benefits of our personalized bookkeeping by scheduling a consultation at your convenience. I look forward to our discussion. And I am very, very pleased to have been invited to present to you. And again, my name is Jeanette Delgado, and I am a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I am located in the state of Maryland, but we provide a virtual bookkeeping firm for medical practices. And I would be thrilled to work with your team and your group. And I want to thank Dr. Tony again for inviting me today, because this has really been exciting. And I know that I can help um, any one of you, all of you, to really make your practices what you want it to be. Thank you.
I'm gonna know. All right, Jeanette, thank you so much. And for our doctors who have come on a little bit later live, we were talking with Jeanette Delgado. She is the president CEO of the JD Management Advisory. Great, great information. You know, a lot of that stuff, if you can document it, have it in place, it's great to have, knowing exactly where your practice is at financially and the proficiency, efficiency it can have more with a professional like Jeanette organizing. And we have a lot of different departments in a personal injury practice, as you know. So get with her and she can go over the different areas and organize and definitely make sense of your practice on that paper for sure. Great stuff. And we want to thank her for her expertise and her education for all our doctors. This is in a recorded event, so we'll have it put live on our doctors community and make sure you get all the references she related to and great points that she gave us in this presentation. So, Jeanette, you got any more to add there?
I just wanted to make sure that I provided enough information for you to kind of get a gist of what we can help with. Obviously, that doesn't cover everything, but certainly, in a short period of time, I could talk for hours about this. I mean, I love what I do, and I always say it's like putting a puzzle together. Sometimes it's all white pieces, but certainly it's fun to do. And when I can be successful for my clients, that's for me is what I yearn for. I mean, the money's good, that's we all know that also helps. But in the end, just making a practice better, just, working with the staff and knowing that I'm giving them, something that they can walk away with and implement in their daily lives or not, or just share with other people in their profession. That to me is success. That to me is I love to teach. I love to share. I love to make things right. And equity for me is probably my highest point in my moral compass. So that's my goal.
Yeah, no doubt, great stuff. And for our doctors, you know, a lot of times the weakness is in your accounts receivables. You just kind of go floating to the future, and if any money comes in, that's fine. You can get your expenses taken care of and a little bit extra. But you know, a lot of you sit there with the EOBs, which is basically the explanation of benefits, sitting in your files or somewhere, and a lot of coding can be recoded and that is missing because nobody has time to do it or look at it. And this is something I think to look at in your practice that Jeanette can probably help you out with on a financial basis because I know some doctors have taken process and taken action and they've recovered almost 15, 20 to 30,000 more a month just in recoding and looking at the explanation of benefits that come in. A lot of doctors just put them in the patient's file. So just a point from being in practice 40 something years myself, that was one of the key issues we always use. So make sure
Well,
you
and
contact her.
another point to that, so we can do a takeaway. So a lot of times, you really need to look at how your adjustments are being managed because if you have a third party biller, or even if you have an in-house biller for that matter, it's easier to just write something off than to try to deal with it, right? So you really want to look at that aspect of your business, like how are those adjustments? What's the criteria? Have you set up, SOPs to manage that point of your practice? Because yeah, it's easy to collect money, right? When they pay it, but it's the part that they don't pay that you
Right.
want to really look at as well. So that's just something that I've seen a lot too, is just, if you have a third party biller, talk to them about how they're dealing with your adjustments. And if you have an in-house biller, then definitely make sure that they have exactly the criteria you want to deal with, because the last thing you want to do is either not collect or have to refund, or like you said, you can't, the insurances don't pay you because of your coding. So there are ways, obviously, to address all those things, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot to deal with.
I
I can
don't
tell you
know.
that.
No doubt. I know we come out being doctors and we forget, you got to be five hats, the business person, the marketing person, the follow-up system, the hiring person. And sometimes it is just too much to handle. And that's why you delegate it out for more people as experts to do that. And Jeanette's one of them that can make that happen in your practice. So I want to thank you again, Jeanette, for all your ideas and points you've given our doctors, and make sure doctors you contact her on any departments in your practice that can definitely make it more efficient and more proficient and best as a running machine, we call it, and organized, because that's where some of the holes are, is you just don't know where everything's at in your practice as day goes in and day goes out, and you're hoping for the best. Well, don't hope, just make sure of it. So
Yeah,
all right,
not
with that,
hope.
we're
Let's
going to
just
end
do
the
it.
session. Yeah, we're going to have this out in the Doctors Community Live. We wanted to thank again all our doctors for joining in for our presentations. Make sure you look at our events as we keep bringing in great things for you all to have to make your practices and your personal injury practices the best you can be. Hey, Dr. Tony, you're administrator and founder. We're close to the 4,000 member mark. Unbelievable, doctors members. We thank you for all your comments and all your referrals that bring many of you back to our community day in and day out. And thank our celebrity presenter today, Jeanette Delgado from the JD Management Advisory. Make sure we'll have all her information and contact information for you to make sure you contact her. All right, with that, this session is going to end. Hey, make it happen. Stay safe and stay healthy. Dr. Tony, we are out. Thank you.